Welcome to Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord. Thank you so much for joining me today as we're going to discuss the Libra solar eclipse occurring on October 2nd, 2024. It will be exact at 2:48 p.m. Eastern Time, and this Libra solar eclipse is happening at 10 degrees 3 minutes of Libra. So that is the degree point you want to identify in your natal astrology chart, even if you do not have planets or points in this area of your chart. You still have all 360 degrees of the zodiac wheel in your chart. So you identify 10 degrees of Libra by house placement, and this house is where you are experiencing this eclipse. This is a new moon solar eclipse, and that signifies a powerful new beginning in Libra themes, which we'll be talking about in today's show. However, just to make it a little bit more interesting, this particular solar eclipse is working with the South Node. The South Node is at 6 degrees of Libra, and the South Node represents what you are closing out, ending, releasing, and moving away from. So we have a dichotomy here in this particular Libra new moon solar eclipse, where it's about assessing what no longer works for you in Libra energies, what is out of balance, what you are growing through and growing away from in Libra dynamics. This is also looking at where you're ready to make a solid, clear new start because of what you've experienced, because of what the Libra energies have taught you, how you have been experiencing Libra themes in your life. Now, when the South Node is moving through a sign, it's our opportunity to clean up that area of our energy and that area of our life that connects to the lower expressions of that sign. To be honest with ourselves around how we might have unconscious habits or patterns that we're ready to elevate and approach differently. The South Node is where the energy is fading away, and you could be feeling that already. You could be consciously aware of it and understanding that there are certain parts of your life that no longer support energies that you're moving away from. For example, the lower expressions of Libra involve lack of boundaries, lack of self-awareness, wanting to maintain the peace at any cost, a willingness to give up who you are, what you need for the sake of another or the sake of a connection. Libra can also be stuck in comparison of self to others, as well as indecision. So these areas would be right on time to elevate and approach differently. Of course, easier said than done when we're dealing with habits and patterns that maybe have existed for years or decades in your life. But the Libra lower expressions are showing you where you have become out of balance with yourself and wanting to bring into your new awareness the ability to stand on your own, be in a place of asserting your needs, your thoughts, and yourself in healthy connections that honor you properly. Understanding it's not your responsibility to maintain the peace or accommodate other people, especially if it's taking you away from what you really want, desire, or need. This can also be a time to look at how often you go into comparison or evaluating yourself in your life to other people, whether that is what they are experiencing, what they're choosing, how they're living their life. The Libra energy can be stuck in that mental plane of assessing what's happening outside of oneself. And then all of the energy then is outside of oneself, instead of pulling your energy back to who you are, what is correct for you, what's a good choice for your life, your path, or simply a good choice for you to make today. So stepping away from the unconscious comparison is something that the Libra energy needs to be mindful of. And then also analysis paralysis, constantly weighing the pros and the cons to the point of indecision, to the point of not knowing what to choose and staying in essentially a frozen state of never making a choice and therefore never taking action. So these are just some of the lower expressions of Libra, and it's important to identify them because the South Node is asking us to approach this differently, to clean out the areas of ourselves that have gone to these places, whether out of comfort or because it's known, or simply because maybe we weren't aware we were doing it. But if we're looking to elevate our connections, elevate our internal equilibrium, and to honor ourselves from a more fair and just place, the Libra energy is being brought into new harmony because of the awareness of the South Node themes. The South Node has been in Libra since July 2023 and will continue through the final degrees of Libra into January 2025. This is our last eclipse in Libra in this cycle, and it's also a new moon solar eclipse, bringing your attention and awareness to what you can approach differently, the new steps you're ready to take, the new choices, the new actions, the new ways you want to navigate Libra themes from a higher consciousness. So I feel this is very encouraging. There could be a sense of, I'm ready to do this differently. I'm ready. I'm ready to mentally shift. I'm ready to step into a new level of myself and to approach these Libra areas of my life and of my chart from a more balanced place that actually honors me more. And keep in mind that because Libra can be overly focused on the other, there can be discomfort pulling the energy back to oneself. There can be discomfort connecting to that root chakra or that solar plexus chakra that lights up with the sense of personal power and connecting to your individual sovereignty. And that could be part of the balancing here, that if you've been really out of balance and all about accommodating others, helping others, giving, listening, supporting, relying upon others, the universe is going to give you some messages that not only is it not sustainable, but it's actually disempowering you. And it's time to pull that back into yourself and to really feel stronger about who you are and what you need, because the correct relationships for you, the correct exchanges, and the way that you share your energy with others will absolutely honor what you need, what you bring to the table, and ensure that you're also receiving your fair share. And so because of these themes, there is potential turbulence in relationship dynamics because of this reprogramming. For example, if you are always the one to take care of something in a dynamic. So let's say in a friendship, you're the one who always organizes the lunch gathering and makes reservations to meet up for lunch. And then you become busy and you're not able to do that, and the other person is expecting you to continue to play that role. Then it's important with Libra, which is an air sign, to communicate, hey, I'm not able to take care of the details here. I can't make the reservations this time. Can you handle it? And obviously this is a very basic, simple example, but then you're telling the other person that you're essentially changing the roles, and that other person will be like, sure, no problem. I'm happy to take care of it this time and take that off your plate. No big deal at all. I'll choose the place. I'll get it done. That's what a healthy friendship would do. But let's say, for the sake of this example, the other person doesn't step forward, doesn't take on what you're not able to handle, doesn't make the effort, or doesn't want to take care of the reservation, then that could be quite eye-opening around the role you play, as well as the other person's desire to contribute to making plans and taking care of the details when you can't. So I realize that might be a really silly example, but the point I'm getting at here is that you could realize that you've been holding up certain parts of a connection, and that when you change your actions and your role, how does that shift the relationship? And it's similar to the analogy of dancing with someone and you're both doing a ballroom dance together, and then one partner changes their moves and all of a sudden they're salsa dancing and you're like, what just happened? Wait, what? You changed the dance. I didn't know we were going to do this. Okay. And then they make a choice to either participate in those moves or not. And so what we're moving into here are changes in relational dynamics that are giving us opportunities to adjust, to be flexible, to allow the organic growth and change to occur, as well as perhaps see where there are limitations in those connections. Meaning you might realize there are people in your life who aren't meant to grow with you, who aren't adaptable, who aren't flexible, who don't want to change the roles that you've already established. And these might be people that you really love and value and respect. And then you realize there's something that you're bumping up against here in your relational connection that shows that it was out of balance for you. And as you bring it into balance for yourself, as you make a change, whether that's minor or major, however you shift your energy in the connection is going to affect them. And a big part of this Libra solar eclipse is looking at the new flows that are established. And that's because in addition to having the sun, the moon, and Mercury all conjunct in Libra, working with that south node in Libra, we also have a Water Grand Trine present. And the Water Grand Trine becomes more prominent because it features Venus. Venus is the ruling planet of Libra. And so wherever she is in the chart shows us more of the energy signature of this particular Libra solar eclipse. And she is in Scorpio at 11 degrees, trining Mars at 15 degrees of Cancer, and trining Saturn at 14 degrees of Pisces retrograde. So our Water Grand Trine features Venus, Mars, and Saturn, all in water signs. And this brings up the new emotional flows, intuitive connections, and feminine energies that we are being guided to work with for the Libra solar eclipse, especially if we've been out of balance between our masculine and feminine expressions. I feel like this particular solar eclipse is going to bring a whole new group of people into a higher state of equilibrium with their divine feminine and divine masculine energies. Like people are going to realize, wow, I was really overthinking that, or I was really limiting myself because I wasn't allowing my emotions or my intuition to be louder or to be part of what I'm trusting and incorporating. I feel like there's going to be this grand up-leveling of how we move through our lives and especially our connections by honoring what we're ready to bring in to our daily experiences more. So there's a heavy focus on the Libra mental air masculine energies and a heavy focus on the water signs that are reprogramming and reconnecting our emotional bodies with our intuition, with our spiritual selves. And it looks like this new integration channel where it becomes easier to move everything in the mind, going back to that Libra tendency to analyze and assess the pros and the cons and go back and forth in all those various ways we can analyze something. Then there's this pause of like, well, let me drop it into what would feel good or what would feel satisfying. Let me take all this heavy concentrated energy out of the mind and allow more of my energy field to guide me and to see where that goes, to see what that leads to. And that Water Grand Trine is not only highly intuitive, it offers an awakening to more of what you really need that maybe you've been out of touch with. And so here we are coming into a new consciousness around what we need that maybe we were compromising or giving away, maybe realizing it's okay to ask for more and you don't have to settle for less. It's okay to be full on with what you need, what supports you, what's good for your heart, what's good for your energy, and to not hold back because you don't want to impose on another person or you don't want to think you're asking for too much. I'm just feeling intuitively like there's going to be more of an ownership around emotional needs, deeper connections, truer connections, and a more empowering declaration that you're worth it. And I say that because Venus in Scorpio can be negotiating her needs and trying to figure out if what she wants and what she needs is going to be acceptable to another. She can also hold back what she truly desires to make sure that the other person is trustworthy or that she feels she's trusting herself. Trust is always a big theme with Venus in Scorpio, and it's often because there have been tough lessons and some real emotional hardships around not trusting and not having experiences that support authentic, trusting connections. I feel like this Libra solar eclipse is healing that Venus in Scorpio. It's healing trust issues. It's healing the parts of yourself that you had to overly protect or fight for or hide, the parts of yourself that maybe you didn't feel safe to open up and share, which, by the way, that could have been the appropriate response. That could have been the exact right choice to make because not everyone is trustworthy and not all situations or experiences support it either. So I feel like there's going to be this beautiful healing that happens as we move into new realizations around what we have held back or didn't think we were worthy of experiencing. And as that South Node in Libra clears out previous choices, previous connections and experiences that were meant to teach us or show us parts of ourselves, there is an elevation here. And it's interesting because Venus and Mars are the lovers in the zodiac, and Saturn is the father. And so there is a maturing influence here around past relationships that could be quite cathartic for this Mars in Cancer as well, who is either wrestling with something in an emotional experience that feels quite messy or overwhelming. It's just not clear yet. But this Mars in Cancer is receiving support from Venus in Scorpio. And she's saying, just be honest with yourself. Just feel your feelings. Just let it move through you and don't take it so personally, which is something that Mars in Cancer can do. Then we have this Saturn retrograde in Pisces that is bringing up the deeper soul lessons you've had to experience in this lifetime. Saturn being about the physical world and being about the timing of your life events, how they mature you and develop you, how you gain greater responsibility around yourself and all of your energy. I feel that this particular Water Grand Trine is leading to new spiritual gifts and spiritual understandings, being able to read energy more precisely and easier, opening up to your intuition and sensing that, okay, I'm feeling this for a reason. And that right there is something I can trust. And there's no need to guess it or doubt it or to keep spinning in the mental energy of it. It's simply trusting that I feel this for a reason and I'm going to go with that. Saturn retrograde in Pisces is also reminding you of what you've been through and that there are cycles you don't have to repeat in relationships. And I'm getting the visual of the heart. I'm getting the visual of the heart holding certain imprints or certain energies that are being flushed out during this particular solar eclipse. And the flow of energy here, the flow of water is really powerful and it's very cleansing and it can blast out anything that has held you back, anything that maybe has prevented a part of yourself from moving on to a new and different experience. I'm just getting the energy of this Water Grand Trine powerfully flushing out previous experiences that you're really done with. And this could be quite healing and beautiful for your current connections. If you're in a solid partnership, marriage, long-term relationship, there could be a sense here that this is a reset. This is a reset of your connection, and that you might each be more open to sharing perhaps previous experiences that you had when you were younger or your teenage years, something that was formative for you. There could be more that comes up to discuss, share, and analyze. And it also helps the other person to see you in more of your fullness. So this can help with those current connections, making them more personal, more intimate, and more vulnerable, which is a beautiful gift to give a partner as they learn more about who you are in this lifetime. And because this is the last Libra eclipse we have in this cycle, you might find that you're ready to make a new choice that you've been contemplating for a while, that you're ready to finally put some things to rest and be complete with it. There is this crescendo energy that is occurring here. And so trust whatever that is for you. Trust that a much bigger reset could be unfolding here that you can't quite wrap your mind around just yet. And because this eclipse happens in October 2nd, but the South Node continues through Libra into January, there could be some delayed realizations as well. Meaning if you don't have a realization in the beginning of October, maybe it comes later in November, December, January, and then the energy really does fade out. Now, the last time we had a Libra solar eclipse at 10 degrees of Libra was October 2005 and October 1986. That's when the same degree point was activated, when we had eclipses at 10 degrees of Libra. So you could look back on those cycles in your life, again, 2005 and 1986, as this is when you would have experienced eclipse changes in the same house in your natal chart. Now, with Libra dynamics, it can be helpful to talk things out with another, whether that is a friend, a sibling, a partner, or a therapist, a healer, a counselor, someone who gets it and who's on the same level of what you're feeling and needing. This would be a time to look at where you need support in the Libra areas of your life, because even though Libra is known for being objective, there's parts of ourselves we don't see, and we need it reflected back to us or mirrored back to us in order to see it from a new angle. So you could have some realizations here around the new choices or decisions you want to make, and then you need support talking it out, thinking it through, and allowing that energy to become more real for you. So if you feel that you need support with the Libra solar eclipse, it's often right on time to seek out that help and assistance. Now, at a collective level, this is a big deal eclipse because many generations have outer planets in Libra. So we have those born with Uranus in Libra, those born with Neptune in Libra, and then also the Pluto in Libra generation. And so these eclipse cycles in Libra have been working with these generations to change up relationships, to establish new understandings of them, what it looks like in the real world, what is truly fair, what actually works in a practical way in our modern lives, as well as next level relationships where both partners are equally balanced in their feminine and their masculine, and what that brings to the table in how partnerships support each person in a new and different way that wasn't modeled through parents or through older generations. So we're moving into a new era of partnerships, and these eclipses are clearing out the older models, the older patterns and paradigms, and bringing to our attention individually the parts of ourselves that are connected to those paradigms or expectations that are no longer applicable or realistic. And so this can show up in the real world as shocking splits, as partners breaking up, more divorces, endings, breakups, separations, as well as new connections coming together, new partnerships, power couples, solid individuals co-creating together, new levels of cooperation, new examples of harmony, and even new examples of how divine feminine and divine masculine energies work together when each is in a more healed and balanced state. So it's interesting because the Libra new moon solar eclipse working with the South Node signifies both powerful endings and powerful beginnings. And that will be different for each individual, of course, depending where you are on your path. It also can help up-leveling and upgrading those healthy relationships that already exist in your world. So I don't want to freak people out and make it sound like, oh no, everything's going to end, or my marriage is over, the partnership is over. No, that's never the case. But what it is asking you to do is to be very mindful and intentional around the energies you're bringing into those parts of your life. So this is a great time to check in with your partner. How is this working for you? How is this relationship going? What can I do more of? Is there anything I'm doing too much of? What do I need more of from you? It's about having those healthy conversations that tell you how the relationship is going for both people, and then allowing each of you to make adjustments and to get on the same page with the changes you're ready to make. I am going to be talking about this particular solar eclipse more on a YouTube live that I'll be doing on Thursday, September 26th. It'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to talk about how this particular Libra solar eclipse supports you in co-creating the third space. And I'll go into that more in terms of why that is an important awareness to have in all your connections, as well as what it can reveal around any past connections, habits, and patterns that you're moving away from. If you're in my 2024 Soul Growth Astrology program, you'll want to sign back in now to take a look at what this last eclipse of the year has in store for you. In the program, I go through more of the healing themes, more to be aware of in your chart, as well as some final thoughts to consider around the eclipses of this year. And if you would like to join that program, you are more than welcome to do so. You can sign up below the podcast here and use coupon code HALFWAY to get all of the astrology of 2024 for only $22. So please check that out, because it can be a great teaching tool to look back at how the eclipses, as well as other transiting aspects of the year, unfolded for you. So as always, thank you so much for joining me for this podcast episode. I will have a video for you on YouTube going through this chart more specifically as well. So please be sure and check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back every Wednesday and Monday for a new podcast episode. And I'm wishing you the very best as we move through this final eclipse of 2024. Take good care, and I'll see you back here soon.